Everyone see this?
I don't really have much.
This is Israel. This is how it looks from the space, actually, by satellite. And actually, I'm holding it to the correct direction, because this is my right hand, which is on your left, is representing the north of Israel, which is over there. We are in the north of Israel. North is over there. East is behind me. West is I'm facing to the west, and south is over there. And yet we are focusing mainly on this part of Israel right now, which is the north, which is over here. And soon I'm going to show you a much bigger scale map, so it's going to be much easier. But we are focusing on this area over here. You can see very clearly the Sea of Galilee. Can you see the Sea of Galilee?
Where?
Okay. So we are focusing on this area, which is designated as the Golan Heights.
Blue back there?
It is extremely important to emphasize that the Golan Heights is actually partially nowadays under Israeli control, or under partially Israeli sovereignty, so to speak, ever since quite recently, so to speak, ever since, anyone knows?
What?
The Six-Day War, which was on which year?
1967.
1967.
Ooh, that was a nice sounding
You
kiss.
deserve a kiss as well. Correct answer. So, the Six-Day War, which lasted for how many days?
6.
Obviously, and which took place on June 1967. Until June 67, as a matter of fact, this section of the Golan Heights, okay, wasn't part of Israel whatsoever at all. The border between Israel and Syria, until that conflict, until that war, was down below along the Hula Valley, where we just been. Okay, remember the nature walk we just did? That was Syria. Okay, the slopes of the mountains that we were ascending on our way over here by the bus were part of Syria, including this whole region over here.
It'll be
It was
okay.
occupied by Israel, by the IDF, during the Six-Day War, during the conflict of the Six-Day War, June 1967. Now, in order to show it to you how it looks much
Wonderful.
better on a bigger scale of a map, there you are. So this would be the north of Israel. And actually here on this map, you can see much clearer. You can see the Sea of Galilee right in the middle over there, very clearly. And you can see the borderline, which is actually the ceasefire agreement, okay, agreements, borderlines as being determined at the end of the war, which are representing the border between Israel and Syria nowadays, very clearly seen on the map, marked by two lines, a blue and a red line. Can you see it? Okay, very clear. And you can see actually that in between the two lines, the blue and the red line, there's like a sort of like a buffer zone. There's like a space in between, which is actually functioning as a buffer zone, as a no man's land. Okay? And the border actually is right below us, down over there. What's indicated to you? You see down below, straight ahead in front of us, a small water reservoir, groundwater.
Yeah.
Nearby to it, on the left side, there's a big building with some trees. Okay, beyond, to the left, above the building and to the left, you can see a very clear landmark, like a trench. Can you see it? And the trench is basically going further on that direction. And there it is, once again. A very clear landmark on the ground, a trench. This is actually the border. This is the actual border between Israel and Syria. That means, basically, that everything, that means practically that everything you see beyond that line and further to the distance is Syria by far. Okay? And which is pretty awesome. That's Syria, yeah.
What city is that?
The name of the city is Quneitra. Okay? And until 1967, until the war at 67, there was another Quneitra. This is a relatively modern city which was established by the Syrians like about 14 years ago. The old Quneitra, which was the Syrian capital town of the Golan Heights until and pre-67 war, is located right in front of you guys. Can you see a relatively large area which is clearly represented by scattered houses which are located in between scattered trees? This is the old Quneitra. It was deserted by the Syrians during the war, and it was actually abandoned and left deserted and abandoned ever since by the Syrians. And Quneitra is actually located within the buffer zone. the buffer zone that you can see on the map.
Buffer zone, like right there. Like
Right below, yeah. Actually, as a matter of fact, some of the cultivated fields over here, and there are some awesome crops over here which are grown by the Israeli settlers of the Golan Heights, members of Kibbutzim and Moshavim. Some of those are actually located within the buffer zone. And if you want to see it if you want to see where we are exactly on the map, I'm pointing it out with my finger. So this is Quneitra. This is the old Quneitra, and it's on the very edge of the buffer zone. And the buffer zone is stretching further away, and then it ends, and then it's Syria basically. Okay. The big body of water over there, that's Syria already, and it's a water reservoir. It's basically all about a rainfall water preserve. Okay. So so this is actually the border. It is stretching further towards the southern Golan Heights, and here to the left, further to the north, it is going all the way towards the big mountain that you can see in the background. The big mountain is actually the highest mountain in Israel and the highest mountain all throughout the area. It is called Mount Hermon. And those of you who are asking me on our way over here about ski in Israel, this is the only place in Israel where you can actually ski sometimes during the winter when there's enough snow. Okay? The only ski site in Israel is located on the summit of that mountain, on one of the summits. It is, however, extremely important to mention that it is actually a relatively large mountain range, and more than 90% of its territory is in Syria. Only less than 10% is occupied by Israel ever since 1967. And you can actually see, those of you who've got good eyesight, you can see on the very tops, there are two summits over there, which are clearly designated by all kinds of facilities on the top, all kinds of antennas and stuff. Can you see those?
Yeah.
These are representing the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces outposts and military bases, which are located on the summit.